Caitlin was a tutor, a babysitter. She made good money. She loved what she did. She loved watching young children learn and be happy. She wanted to be a teacher. But in today's world, if you're not on a screen, you're not being seen. And Caitlin was faltering, at least in the learning aspect of her job. Caitlin was hired on the regular about mostly from I want to say from 8 to midnight. She covered a lot of rich families' dinner dates, a lot of attempts at saving a floundering marriage or two. But I want to talk about one poorer home, the Jacksons' home. The Jacksons were a kind family, a good family, but they rarely ever caught a break, at least financially. The town loved them, but their son, Gabriel, was always a little less than normal, or maybe a little more than normal. I'm not sure where it falls. Gabriel was different, that was for sure. Not bad, not evil, not twisted or dark or really even weird. He was just different. He learned entirely through games. He only understood lessons when they were presented to him as tasks to complete. And he would only do things as tasks in a game. So getting Gabriel to clean up his room, for example, was, Gabriel, the city needs you to clear out these debris piles before time runs out. You couldn't just say, Gabriel, pick up your room. Like, it just didn't work. How do I know all this? Let's just say I know things. It's my job to know things. So one particular evening, the Jacksons had the money together to finally go on a date, have a night to themselves. And they hadn't had it in ages. So Caitlin, of course, was happy to agree because, I mean, you get to watch a good kid and you get paid and you get to help out a nice family. Wins all around, right? Yeah. At first, everything seemed just fine. Everything was relatively normal. I mean, outside of the whole eat your peas or the mushroom kingdom will overtake your plate. And then Gabriel said that he had a new game and he wanted to play it. He needed to play it. And Caitlin kind of scratched her head and said, okay, I guess. What's it about? He said, oh, it's the best game ever. It's a learning game. This caused Caitlin to be a little bit happier with the idea, but a little jealous because she liked to do the teaching along with the child. She said, can I play along? And he said, "Oh, yes, yes, you can. You can have the most important job of all." And she said, "Well, what's that?" And he said, "Oh, that's keeping Aziel out of the house." "Who's Aziel?" Caitlin asked. "Oh, Aziel's the bad guy. See, in this learning game, you have to keep Aziel out of your house. Otherwise, he comes in and gets you. He takes you somewhere and you never come back." Okay. A little bit dark for a learning title, she thought, but, you know, I mean, there's been FNAF for how long and how many other games? Caitlin sent Gabriel to his room, and she stayed close by, because when she tried to enter the room, Gabriel would say, "No, no, no, you have to stay out. You have to stay out and look out for Aziel. Otherwise, Aziel will be able to sneak in the house and get us." But she was a little worried that this was not a learning game. She would walk down the hall, make rounds through the house, just to appease Gabriel, and every so often she would poke her head in to check on Gabriel, and she looked at the game. Strange, it was a black screen, and occasionally a white text question would appear, sometimes multiple choice, sometimes short answer. But the questions didn't appear to be in English from time to time, and Gabriel doesn't speak any other languages, so you could see his hesitance. He would really pour himself into that, make certain that the question was correct. On one of the rounds, Gabriel looked visibly shaken. "Gabriel, are you all right?" Caitlin asked. And Gabriel held his hand out as if to stop her and said, "Get downstairs. I got a question wrong." Caitlin brushed it off. Maybe he was just embarrassed that he got a question wrong. Maybe it was an easy question. She went downstairs and looked. Everything seemed fine. Despite how shaken Gabriel was, the game must be really getting to him, she thought. And then she saw him. Out in the garden, beyond the kitchen, outside, was an angel statue. Now, she didn't remember that angel statue being there before, but it wasn't anything bad. By anyone's guess, it was rather benign looking, but it was odd that she only noticed it just now, just after Gabriel said something about it. She went back to making the rounds. Gabriel was just playing along. Seemed everything was okay, and everything was moving. And then she heard stone grinding against stone. She looked out the window, and there was the statue, but funny, she could have swore it was a little bit further away last time. She yelled up to Gabriel, "Hey, you okay up there?" Gabriel said, "Oh, good, you're downstairs. I got another question wrong." Caitlin was a little bit concerned. At this point, I think anybody would. So she called. She called the parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, and said, "Hey, everything's going fine. I don't want you to panic." She said, "But, I don't know if there's something going on in the garden, like maybe you have a live animal back there. like a raccoon or something messing with it. I just heard some stone grinding, and I think somebody moved your, uh, or something might have moved your statue. And they said, what statue? The one in the garden, the statue of the angel. We don't have a statue of an angel. Caitlin locked the doors immediately. And she ran upstairs, yelling, Gabriel, shut that game off right now. And he said, I can't. And she goes, what do you mean you can't? That's just it. I unplugged the computer last night. It's been playing non-stop. I have to get all the questions right, or Azeal will come and get us all. Caitlin said, okay, well then I'm going to lock the door to your room with me inside. And he says, no, you have to keep him out. She says, no, we have to keep him out. Show me the questions and I will help you. We can win this together. Caitlin and Gabriel pondered every question, terrified now, because every time they would get one wrong, every time it would be in a language they didn't understand. They could hear stone grinding. They could hear the door to the house opening, being pushed against the lock until the lock finally just gave and the door broke. They could hear the stone sliding up the stairs. Panic clouded their judgment, and questions were now getting wrong just because of foolish error. Finally, they could hear Azeal at the door. Caitlin loved being a tutor. Caitlin wanted to be a teacher. Caitlin looked after Gabriel. Caitlin decided that she had to face Azeal herself and be the only one taken, she hoped. With one more wrong answer, the door flew in. And there was Azeal. No longer an angel. No longer a statue. Something very much in between. And I don't mean in between heaven and hell or earth and God. It was in between everything. It moved and not moved at the same time. It was in this space and no space. And Caitlin charged it. The police never found her. The police never had an explanation as to who broke in and kidnapped a babysitter and not the child. The Jacksons took Gabriel and moved him to another town. Moved me to another town. I got another computer. I had dozens of other babysitters. But there was a new rule. Learning did not involve games. Ever. I don't go near a computer. Because every time I do, something appears on the screen. Gabriel, let me out. Gabriel, please play the game.